Only myself and two other people know this story, and, well, I was going to take it to the grave, but what the hell, might as well share it, right? This is a good one. Get some popcorn and listen to this shit. 2 years ago, I guess now, I was working at a dealership. The guy that owns the place, he was big into exotic cars. That was his thing. He'd buy these Ferraris, McLarens, and Lambos, and Porsches, and Rolls Royce. Didn't matter. It was nice. He owned it. He'd usually buy them broken or like from an estate sale, and then he'd sell them. So some of these things that would come in, there was me and one other guy in the shop that ended up getting to work on them most of the time. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Got to work on some sweet stuff. This one day, this flatbed comes in, and it's got a mint condition 1987 Ferrari Testarossa on the back. I was like, sweet car. That's a nice car. Watch it roll in, gets parked in the back. They dump this thing out back. And we hear it fire up for like 30 seconds and get shut off. And we're like, cool, sounds nice. And nobody looked at it for a couple days. There's a guy who comes to me and he's like, hey, come look at this car. We're trying to figure out what's up with it and maybe you might have an idea. So I'm like, cool, okay. We go to the back. It was in a separate building. He fires the thing up. It runs for like 30 seconds and then it stalls. And then you try to start it again and it would crank no start. So this thing wouldn't run. Now, he said you had to wait about 12 hours, 15 hours, something around there before it would run again for 30 seconds. And then it would stall and die. Sort of thinking about it, we tried to test a bunch of things. We checked fuel pressure. We thought, oh, maybe it needs a fuel pump. We tried this, we tried that. Couldn't end up figuring it out. So, one thing that sort of sucked was we didn't have any access to repair manual information for this thing. You know, basically how we understood how it worked, but we wanted to find details. I started scouring the internet, ended up coming across a few forums on these cars and how there's a relay inside of a box, and it's the tack relay. Now, these things, I guess, go bad, and it causes that exact symptom. So I said we better order one of those and throw it in because I don't have any better ideas. It was a couple $100 relay. They wanted to buy it right from Ferrari. I think it was like $300 or $400. They're like, yeah, they agreed. They said, yeah, let's do that. So they order it up. Now, it was a Friday that I had to put this thing in. And we were busy that day. It was like middle of summer. And I was like, oh, if that's cool, I'll just stay after work. And I can do it by myself. Nobody will bug me. And they're like, yeah, sure. That's fine. It's Friday night. Working on this thing. Sort of a pain in the ass to get to. There's this box that's like, it's got a bunch of fuses in it and that relay. And this box sits right underneath the passenger rear quarter panel. It's in a tight spot. You got to take a couple things off. You can see it, but it's in the engine bay in the back. I'm like, all right, I can get to that. Working on it. It's like 30 minutes goes by, and you're being all meticulous, right? Like, I want to make sure the job's perfect. So I get all the pieces off. I get to the box. Looks like there's 3 bolts that holds it on. It's bolted to like the wheel well arch on the inside, and it has this black coating on it. It's almost like rocker guard. Get the bolts off. Everything's good. I go to take it off, and the thing's like friggin' stuck on there. So I'm rocking it and shaking it and trying to get it off, and it's like flexing the friggin' wheel arch inside. I got a little flathead screwdriver, tried to get in there, start prying it a little bit. Was not coming. Did not want to friggin' budge whatsoever. I'm like, is this damn thing glued down or what? So I get a bigger screwdriver, obviously, go in there. I grab a little pry bar too, about this long. Trying to give it a little leverage, right? Nope, wouldn't budge. You gotta keep in mind, this thing is made of aluminum. The whole body, every body panel on this damn car is aluminum. So I was told that you don't lean on it because it'll dent in like a pop can. I'm like, okay, great, thanks. So I'm leaned over this thing, not touching the body, working on it. It's been like 3 hours. I'm fucking sweating bullets right now. I'm like, come on, I'm trying to get this thing off. So I stick a bunch of rags in between the box and the quarter. I'm like, all right, I'll stick a bunch of rags in there and I'll give her a couple tweaks with the pry bar and hopefully it'll pop off. Guess what? That thing popped off. And it went ding right into the bottom of the quarter. I was stunned. Couldn't believe it. I get out and go look around the side of this thing. I didn't really see anything, and I'm looking, and this shop's got nice lights in it. And I'm looking. And then there it is. There's this smallest little dimple in the paint. And I get looking at this thing. And my heart just sunk to the bottom of my stomach. I was like, holy shit. How can I fix this? So instantly I started going into panic mode. What do I do? What do I do? Thinking about things. I'm like, do I grab a rubber mallet and try to like tap it back in? Like, what can I do? Is there some sort of dent repair kit that I can buy and like try to, you know what I mean? Obviously not going to do nothing to it. So I was thinking, oh, it's got aluminum hood. That's going to be expensive to repair. So I didn't end up doing anything to it. I just left it. And I stuck this relay in and put everything back together. And thank God the car ran. Because I was like, yeah, this is just my luck. It'll be strike 2. But nope, the car ran. So I was like kind of relieved about that. But this dent was just driving me nuts. So I had to go home. And the weekend goes by. I had about 3 hours of sleep because that's all I can think of is this damn car. And I go in Monday and they're like, did you get it running? And I was like, yeah, it runs. And they're like, oh, thank God. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, mm-hmm. So I go talk to the general manager when nobody's around. I'm like, look, I got to talk to you about something. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, something to do with the Ferrari. And he's like, oh, well, what is it? I said, let's go to the back. I got to show you something. And he's like, okay. So we go to the back shop. I show him and he's like, oh my God. How'd that happen? So I explained everything to him. And he's like, do you want me to tell the boss or do you want to tell the boss? And I was like, man, you better tell the boss. Like this guy, not once in the 3 years I worked there before this, did he ever come up to me and say, hey, how you doing? You know, he never really talked to me. So general manager went and he did tell the boss. And that guy wouldn't even look at me after that. But it's just one of those things that happens. What are you going to do? You try your best to do the best job that you can do, and sometimes it still goes sideways. And unfortunately, it just happened to that car. So it was sort of a shitty situation. But after that, the car ended up getting cleaned up and sold. It was such a minuscule ding. You could barely see it unless you had a light and you were looking for it. Even in the sun, you couldn't see it. It was that small. And general manager talked to me after I left, and he said, yeah, don't worry about it, man. So it was just one of those things. If you like this story, give the video a thumbs up, and let me know if you got any crazy stories down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and have a good day.